Well, we need food for the people that we have relocated outside of the capital in different other departments.
The risk of infectious disease is very high in the city centre. There are still hundreds of corpses buried in the rubble of Managua. There is no food and water in the area, so that people are being forced in any case to move out to the country districts. To try to counteract the spread of disease, clinics are being set up in the city. People are being given anti-typhoid tablets as well as treatment for the wounds they received during the quake. All round the clinics there are crowds of people, not sick people but hungry people, and this is creating an explosive situation. The man in charge of the relief operation is General Anastasio Somoza, until recently the president of Nicaragua and now the head of the armed forces. He sees food supplies as the greatest and most urgent need.
Well, we need food for the people that we have relocated outside of the capital in different other departments because we had a terrible drought, and with this is accentuating the need for food. The next thing we have to do is to establish the water lines to be able to give the people who were not hurt by the earthquake some water, and also for the encampments that we're going to establish for the rebuilding and cleaning up of the debris.
How are you going to go about trying to re-establish Managua? It looks to me as though it's totally finished. I mean, I wouldn't know where to start.
Well, this is a matter that we'll have to take up in the government. The junta and the Congress will have to take up after the recommendations of the geological studies of the area.
So you might simply abandon the old city and build it somewhere else?
Well, there are all kinds of possibilities. It all depends what the studies say, and we will take the best course for the future of Nicaragua.
How would you pay for the re-establishment? Nicaragua is not obviously a very rich country. You obviously need money from outside to help rebuild this capital, yes?
Yes, and we are counting on the help of the world to rebuild this capital. And I might take this opportunity to tell you that I wouldn't wish this type of catastrophe to happen to anybody.
The more one sees of the devastation, the more one realizes what an impossible task faces this financially poor country. General Somoza has appealed for the world's help in rebuilding his capital, and he'll probably get that help. But for the official buildings, the churches, the libraries, the schools, which other countries and organizations will be glad to sponsor. But it's the ruined houses and shops of the not-so-wealthy that present the real problem. Frequently, insurance policies here exclude earthquake damage, so these ruins are often total write-offs. And with the destruction of these homes and shops goes the destruction of the commercial life and the home life of this city. It's difficult to foresee the day when the distressed people who now pick among the rubble will be able to return. Michael Brunson, ITN, Managua in Nicaragua. More help has arrived at Managua Airport more quickly than anyone could have hoped for. The United States, for example, is using the biggest plane there is, the C-5A, to ferry in 100 tons of supplies at a time. But many other countries are helping too. I noticed planes from Mexico, Peru, Panama and Cuba in an hour at the airport this morning. British help is on the way as well. Blood plasma and food supplies are being flown in by the RAF. But, once again, as in Nigeria and India and many other similar situations, there's the problem of how to handle the supplies once they've arrived. Hundreds of tons of food and medical supplies are in this hangar and are moving out of it only in a trickle. There's a shortage of lorries and petrol, which the relief agencies will try to put right. But there's now serious doubt as to whether the government wants this food to move into Managua at all. They've said that they do not intend to hand out food in the city centre because they don't want people to stay there. In other words, there seems to be a deliberate attempt to starve people out of the ruined city. Whether life outside Managua will be any better is open to question. Already some shanty towns are springing up in the surrounding countryside, and the food shortage is just as bad there too. There's little food on the farms because there's been a drought this year. That doesn't stop the exodus, though. In the city centre, many people are grabbing everything they can, whether it's their property or not, and getting out. Some of these people may be recovering what is rightfully theirs, but it's clear that many others are looting, ransacking the empty houses and shops and offices. Sometimes the soldiers do catch a thief. They found a flagon of whiskey under this man's shirt. Occasionally the army and the police fire warning shots into the air to try to discourage looters, but for the most part they know it's impossible to maintain law and order in a city as shattered as this.
The abandonment of the city is having one other terrible effect. With the people going, the firefighters are going too. For some time they've been trying to keep the fires here under control, but now with everything being abandoned, the firemen are going too. The result is this terrible scene you see here. The flames are taking over once again in the centre here, 4 days after the original earthquake. And the whole of the centre of this city is being destroyed once again by fire. Michael Brunson, News at 10, Managua City in Nicaragua. This is the latest stage in the government's attempt to try and stop people getting into Managua City. They're stopping all the cars and lorries on the outskirts of town here, but frankly the checks don't seem to be having much effect, because the same number of cars as usual, with just one or two exceptions, do seem to be getting through.
Officially, no one is supposed to get in without a piece of paper stating their business. But since a request from relatives for drivers to pick up their furniture, either genuine or forged, will do, the system is, of course, impossible to operate, and the main point of the roadblock seems to be this: to convince people that the government is trying to re-establish law and order, which so nearly broke down completely. Today, for example, I saw no looting in the city centre, in sharp contrast to the picture 24 hours earlier. People taking away furniture and so on today were being checked by soldiers with rifles. Many of them reserve soldiers, like the city judge turned soldier I spoke to.
What are you doing here? Are you stopping people looting?
Yeah, that's the idea. That's our job.
Has there been a lot of looting in this area?
Yeah, principal yesterday and the day after yesterday.
What will you do if you see a looter?
Well, the order is to shoot.
To what?
To shoot.
To shoot him?
Yeah.
No questions, you just shoot him?
Just shoot.
The government has also tried to calm things down in Managua with a limited distribution of food. They're still sticking to their original policy of not handing out supplies in the city centre to force people to leave. But in the immediate suburbs, they have relented a little and have arranged for a meagre supply of food, in this case small cans of condensed milk, to be given out. But as yet, there is no sign of a full-scale food distribution program being effectively organised. In the city centre, it doesn't matter. It's deserted. Here, 5 days after the earthquake, the fires are burning more strongly than ever. Officially, the firemen say there's no more water to fight them, though in fact water is available in the lake half a mile away, and while it isn't fit to drink, it could be put in the fire engines. The truth is that the authorities believe there are more important things to do than try to save this area, which is totally devastated anyway. In those areas which are not completely flattened, the government has begun knocking down the buildings that aren't safe as they stand. But there seems to be no coordinated policy as to how or even why the city should be cleared. Some people feel it would be madness to try to rebuild the capital in the same spot. Managua, they say, has had too many earthquakes and will never be free of them. Other people, mainly the older generation, feel that it can be patched up, that enough can be salvaged to start again. So far, the government has made no decision. They're content to let short-term operations like clearing the streets go ahead, especially since the American army has taken over the job. The plan is a simple one, to clear the main thoroughfares so that some movement in the area is possible. Decisions will then be made as to what, if anything, should be saved.
The debris of what has been destroyed is being got rid of quickly and easily. It's being pushed into the old volcano, now a lake, on which the city sits. Michael Brunson, News at 10, Managua City.